a special welcome to you new folks, and we know we got quite a few of you here. For those that don't know me, I'm Sam Bragador, Chairman of the Berks County Patriot. I apologize that the standing room only. On the other hand, I'm very thankful, so I appreciate that. Linda's going to open up the meeting with a prayer and a pledge. Linda?
Please stand. Okay. Lord, we ask your blessings on this group. We need your guidance as we wander through our lives. Help us to overcome all the trials and tribulations and make us stronger. Give our speakers tonight wisdom, courage, and opportunity to accomplish their goals. With your blessings, we can get through all this anarchy and come out on top. It is all in your hands, Father God, and whatever the outcome, we will abide by it and work to make it friendly and peaceful. Please help us be stronger than the dissenters. Help us to have tolerance where the others do not. Please, Lord, give everyone here courage to try to change hearts and minds. And in closing, bless the veterans that keep us all safe. Bless the first responders, the firemen, the police. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Steve and Joe. Yes, sir. We're going to do for you. We're going to do the raffle in about 2 minutes. Okay? So you can make your way up for the AR-15.
Okay, we're still got a line for the 38. Once this line settles down, if that's okay.
Well, we want to try to stay on schedule. We're on schedule already.
Okay.
Okay, folks, let's talk about the elephant in the room, COVID-19. Look, we have made and taken meeting precautions. We tried to space the chairs as best as possible. You people moved to my day. We took temperature readings, chair spacings as best we could. There's wipes, there's soaps, there's masks, there's no selling hot dogs, there's no food, free food tables. We shut down the kitchen. We did all that we thought was reasonably possible. However, folks, we will understand if any of you feel uncomfortable for any reason and need to leave. You are in charge of yourself. Whatever you decide is best, that's what you want to do. You may remember last July 15th, Governor Wolf came out and modified his dictates, which drastically affected many. One of the things that he did was reduce gatherings like this from 250 to 25. Now, I look around the room, and I don't know, maybe there could be more than 25. But even if that is the case, are we in violation? Really, are we? No! You're right. Let me read you something. Health Secretary Levin was asked about Governor Wolf's marching shoulder to shoulder with protesters, no social distancing. Also, there were many other protests with no masks or social distancing. Levin said, the governor has always said that the people have the right to protest and to demonstrate and the right to free speech. Levin also said, we are not restricting people's right to protest. Well, folks, these meetings are our peaceful protest against Governor Wolf's unconstitutional dictates. Welcome to tonight's protest. strongly disagree with the way Governor Wolf has handled this situation. It is one of the harshest and cruelest of all the states. Governor Wolf has infringed on our God-given and constitutional rights. He created unnecessary hardships on the people and the economy. Look, I'm sure you heard certain businesses announce that they're closing permanently. Others will be doing so. Some of this could have been avoided. The only thing they had to do was use some common sense safety measures. First of all, businesses are very creative, they're very smart. Give them general guidelines and say, look, work within these parameters, do it the way you're going to do it. They will do it. We wouldn't have had what we have now. Now, I do want to thank our local legislators, county commissioners, businesses, and people like you who did push back against the governor and his dictates. Thank you. However, what does the governor do? Well, folks, he called them and you cowards. Yes, he did, honestly.
Yes, he did.
Folks, trying to feed your family and fighting tyranny is not cowardly.
Amen. Amen.
I have this report, very short. Let's see, it's dated July 31st, that lists the death rates per 100,000 by state. 100,000 by state. 10 of the top 12 highest death rates are run by Democrat governors, including Pennsylvania. That's not surprising, is it really? No. Obviously, the Democrats don't know what they're doing, and some people are dying because of it. Okay, we're going to, first of all, there's a lot more I can say on this, but we have someone way more knowledgeable with us tonight who's going to be speaking, so I'm going to cut it off at that. Okay, I would like to do the raffle. Steve, Joe, let's do that raffle, please.
You want to do that now, or can you give us a few more minutes?
Let's do it now, please.
Okay.
You want to bring it forward, or you want to do it back there?
Doesn't matter.
Actually, it might be a little difficult to bring it forward.
Say again?
It might be a little difficult to bring the firearm forward. As long as you just, hold
Okay,
it
why
on.
don't we do it up here? All right.
Now, tell them what it is.
All right, this is for a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 with a red, green dot optic and a case. This is one of them ugly, dangerous assault weapons. Ooh.
Steve, there's some people in Congress that want to restrict our Second Amendment rights, and some of them call them, let's see, 14s, 16s, who knows?
They have no idea what they're talking about.
You're right.
Is what they're doing. They have no idea. This shoots 3,000 rounds per second. According to some Democrats, this shoots 3,000 rounds per second. Just ask the politicians. All right, good luck. We're going to draw this one first. Senator, would you give me the pleasure, the future governor of Pennsylvania? The winner is Shirley Moser. Shirley, are you here? Shirley? Where's Laura? Congratulations. You're going to tell them from your cold, dead hands, right? From your cold, dead hands. That's the only way they're going to get this from you.
Steve and Joe, how many tickets you have left That's great. Congratulations again, Shirley. By the way, that the 38 Special plus me, someone who's near and dear to me, carries that from time to time. Very good firearm. Folks, if you want to please be a little quiet. Real quiet, please. Okay, we're going to move on to other BCP business. The first thing I want to do is acknowledge some of the candidates and legislators that I know are here. Let me see. First of all, I know Vince Gagliaro is here, candidate for PA House 127. Vince, Wade, okay, great. All the way in the back, that's great. Annette, are you here? Good. Annette Baker is here, candidate for the PA Senate 11. Wonderful girl. Is John Emmons here? John's not here? Okay. John is running for the U.S. 6th Congressional District. We do know that Senator Doug Mastriano is here. He's the candidate for PA District 33. You're around here somewhere. I know you're here. Okay, fine. And let's see. I'm told that Senator Dave Arnold is here, PA District 29. Dave, I didn't see you. Are you here? Great. Yes, also, Randy Gardner, Mayor of Robizonia is here. Randy, right away. Great, Randy. My oathkeeper friends are here. They're here, running there somewhere. Hey, there's one over there. Great. Now, I don't know. Did I miss anybody? You people in the back, did I miss anybody? Oh, Jim. Okay, let's see. Jim, you're running for what district are you? Jim Oswald, yes. Let me see. You're running for the 126, is that right? 126. Okay, great. Thanks for reminding me. Anybody else on this? No? Good. We got it covered. Congratulations. Good best wishes to all of you. Okay, moving on. Folks, we're still looking for locations to put up 4x8 signs or 3x5 signs to promote Berks County Patriots. If you happen to have a location or know of one, please, let us know. We certainly would appreciate that. 4x8 or 3x5. Dennis, are you able to get the Berks County Patriots sign? Can you wiggle your way up here? The 24 by 18. Are you able to do that? Yes. Let me have that. Can you do that? Dennis, I don't know how we're going to connect. Hey, hi, buddy. Thanks, Dennis. Now, folks, as I said, we're looking for locations for 4x8 and 3x5. However, many of you won't have those. However, you all have space that you could put one of these up. Is that right? Okay. We pay almost $6 for these, like $5.50. We're not going to sell them to you for that. We just want a donation. Maybe $2, $3, anything. The most important thing to us is that these signs leave here and they get put on your property throughout Berks County. We want hundreds of them. So what you pay is not important to us. The fact that you take these signs with you is important. So please, folks, see them in the back and take some signs with you. You all Sam? Yes.
One thing, we are sold out of the 38 Smith & Wesson tickets. So anybody that's waiting in line, we're sorry, but we're sold out. So we'll be drawing this revolver when time permits and a little later.
Okay, we'll do that near the end. I'll squeeze you in between, actually. Do you have the raffle for the other gun yet?
Yeah, we had the raffle for the rifle and the winner.
I know, but the next one after the 38 special. reminder, we use these raffles to help offset some of our costs. Our only revenue is what happens at these meetings and any donations that we get. So I appreciate anything that you guys do. I do want to let you know, First County Patriots, we have two big problems, and we need your help. First, starting this month, this fall, the rent has gone up 60%. 60%. They also took away our stage and our platform for our video. Now, we will be talking with them, but folks, we are not happy campers. Things cannot continue like that, so we may start, well, actually, we'll start looking around if things don't change. No, actually, I hate to tell you, I believe he's a Trump supporter. Let me see here. Oh, secondly, the financial issue I just told you about, we also have a people issue. We need help. One of our key people, longtime board member who was doing double duty, left about a month ago. There was 3 deaths in her family. Board members were burning the candle at both ends, doing so now. That cannot continue. We need board people. We need committee people. We need you to keep us going. So please, see a board member. Now, last month, I mentioned a lot of different activities that we were involved with. I went in detail with them. This month, I'm just going to read them quickly. April 10th, we had a Good Friday rally. May 21st, 22nd, 23rd, we helped place flags on Veterans Graves at Forest Hill Cemetery. May 23rd, we had a Trump rally. June 20th, support law enforcement rally. June 26th, Right to Life rally. July 4th, Oath Keepers helping to protect Gettysburg. August 8th, Trump rally. And we will have Trump rally and other rallies once or twice a month through October. I also want to mention there is a woman in Fleetwood. Someone went on her property, she had a Trump sign, and they lit it on fire. They burned it. They also slashed 3 of her tires and took a sticker off of her car.
Oh, you did you?
This is by those, by the way, that consider themselves tolerant. When they can't win on the issues, they use intimidation. Well, folks, this woman was not intimidated. She has the Trump sign back on her property right away. Let's give her a big hand. I'm trying to speed through here. I'm going to hit 2 other items very quickly, even though we're talking about these a little bit in the months leading up to the election. Mail-in ballot. Please, if you have to vote by absentee ballot, that's fine. Mail-in, please don't. If there's any way you can vote in person, do so. Do you know there were tens of thousands of Pennsylvania mail-in ballots returned in after the June 2nd deadline? The number could be worse. If our country ever goes to an all-mail-in vote, the integrity of our system will be lost, and so will democracy. There's a lot more to say on that. I'm just trying to tell you at this particular point, make every effort that you can to go and vote in person. What goes hand in hand with that is another issue, which has been in the county and in the news lately, and that is the drop boxes. There's some that want drop boxes throughout the county. There's big issues with that. There's no need for drop boxes. There is one in the Service Center. I will get into that a little more next month. However, you don't need a drop in for people that can't get the ballot in time. Folks, you know that you can request a ballot 50 days before the election. Actually, you can request a ballot now, even though it's longer than 50 days. There's no reason that someone cannot request a ballot, get a ballot, fill it out, and get it in the mail by election day. They don't have to go to the polls if they don't want to. But the point is that's a second issue that we need to be concerned with. I'll talk a little bit more about that next month. Okay, skipping around here.
I will, yeah.
ballot request to get those.
We have many challenges ahead. Our country is in turmoil. Our presidency is being attacked from all quarters. And we are more divided than any time since the Civil War. For those of us that believe in our Constitution, the flag, and what our founding fathers espoused, we must unite. We must do our part. We must work together. Now, what I tell you, everybody got to participate. We need everybody on the playing field. Nobody on the benches. You understand? Really. There's so many things that you could do. I'm just going to list a few. You can make telephone calls, emails, social media, donations, door knocking, meetings like this, signs on your property, spread the word, neighbors and so forth. The point is, you want to be part of this team. You want to feel that you are doing what is needed for our country, our state, and our county. So please join somebody in doing one of these activities. Actually, that concludes my remarks. I'm going to be bringing up Sarah. Sarah, where are you? Oh, good girl. Okay. Sarah Barron is going to be coming up next. She is with the Trump campaign, and I think she'll be able to tell you a few things you might be able to help with as well. So, Sarah, if you want to come up, that's all welcome. Sarah Barron with the Trump campaign.
Thanks, guys. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Barrett, and I'm one of the 2 field organizers in Berks County for the Trump Victory Campaign. And if you're like me, listening to the news and coming to these meetings, your blood is boiling right now with everything that is happening today in the nation. So you might be thinking to yourself, what can I do to help? Well, good news, the Trump Victory Team has all the resources you need to make your mark in history. So this week kicks off our National Week of Training. It is Convention Week, and it is the biggest week we are going to have to date of the election cycle. And there are several ways you guys can get involved. And I'm back there at a table littered with Trump signs. You can come get your Trump signs. Come talk to me a little bit more about how you can get involved. But here's just a quick snippet of the events we have coming up this week. This Saturday at the Blandon office, we are located, we do an office share with the Berks County Republican Committee in Blandon. So that's where a lot of our events are. We start off there and then we deploy out into the field. If you're interested in door knocking this Saturday at 2 o'clock, we're going to be meeting and then we're going to be going out in Blandon neighborhoods. So Blandon, be ready, we're coming for you. Sunday, we're going to be door knocking in Hamburg. At 2 o'clock, we're going to be meeting at the Hamburg Community Park. Every Monday from 5 to 7 at that office, I have a phone bank. So you can come in, learn how to use our phone app to make phone calls for the president. I get some pizza, so it's going to be a great time. Tuesday, I have a Taco Tuesday coming up, so come get some tacos, learn a little bit more about how you can help with the campaign. Wednesday, I have a Women for Trump Wednesday at 6 o'clock this Wednesday. And then to top the week off on Friday, we have a Firearm Friday with special guest Stephen Williford, the gentleman who stopped the shooting down in Sutherland Springs, Texas. So if you're interested in coming to any of these events, I have sign-ups back there. I already have some great people signed up. So I'd love to get this office filled with people like you who want to help. Every door we knock, every phone we dial, everything we do in the field impacts this election by about 2 to 3 percentage points. And Donald Trump only won Pennsylvania by 1 percentage point. So, and we help candidates from the top down, not just President Trump. So when we go out and we distribute literature for President Trump, when we knock on our doors, when we make our phone calls, we're helping local candidates as well, not just the president. So right in the front, if you notice on the Berks Patriots banner, it says, if not who, if not now, when. It is up to us, everybody. There's 75 days left, and we have to make every one count, and every single one of you has something to offer to the campaign. So please, I encourage you, come and speak with me over in the back at my table. Sign up to come to some of our events this week, and so we can ensure a win for President Trump and all of our local Republican candidates in Berks County. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah. Hey, Sam, Sam.
Yes.
Hold on. Hey, I know it's crowded in here, people, but when there's a speaker up there, let's give them our attention. They put a lot of time into speaking. So please keep the comments and the noise down. Other people can't hear. Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, up next, we're going to have Carol Gardecki. She's going to give us our Constitution minute. Carol? Can you pass it all over to Sally then? I got to check something in the back.
Okay, hi folks. Interesting that Sam talked about the voting and the mail voting. I don't know, well, I guess I do know how it got started. And I'm not sure it's constitutional. First of all, you have to know that our Constitution allows each state to make their own rules about how the voting will be conducted in their state. However, after they wrote that into the Constitution, they also wrote in that if necessary, the federal government will step in and will change things. Now, one of the things that happened, they had trouble with a couple states. They weren't scheduling voting time at all. And so to fix that, they stepped in, and they, in 1872, they picked the day that Election Day will be, and that's the Tuesday after the first Monday in November. Now that's Election Day. I never heard about an election month, an election week. I don't know how people are getting away with this early voting stuff they're doing. I think they do it in Florida. I don't know where else they do it. The mail-in voting, except for absentee ballots, I feel that this is unconstitutional. However, they're going to get away with it unless somebody takes it to court. As long as nobody there's a lot of unconstitutional stuff happening, and it's because nobody ever challenged it. Of course, it costs a lot of money to challenge it. So, but somebody, I hope somebody will challenge this voting thing and get this settled, because there's an election day. I don't know about you, but when Trump got elected, I stayed up all night and watched TV, right? Yeah. Right. I was excited. I had to watch. It took long till they declared the winner. But I don't know if this year, if you can do that. With all those mail-in ballots, they won't have them counted. So the next morning after Election Day, we may not know who the president is. I don't like it. Something gotta happen. They can't get away with this. Anyway, I don't know what to do to fix it, but it's not a good thing, not good at all. And somebody should challenge it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here with the feel-good moments tonight. I do the feel-good moments, make everybody happy. No notes, no story. This is happening here, and it's happening now. Pepperidge Farms, who has a big production over near Greenstown, for the last 18 weeks, has donated bread and rolls and goldfish crackers to the Greenstown Fire Company. They called me and said, we've saturated Lancaster County. My son-in-law runs with the fire company. They said, can you help? For 18 weeks, we have been delivering bread, rolls, and crackers to anybody we can. Pantries, police, fire companies, anybody that needs it in the mobile home park out at Irish Creek, places like that. So what I'm here to say tonight is, when you get to that store, and Pepperidge Farm bread is there, please support them, one. And two, if you know anybody that can use this type of thing, come to me after the meeting, or right after the meeting. Let me know where I can take it here in Berks County, and we will gladly deliver bread. We're going to do the Military Family Pantry in Shoemakersville on Saturday. So please.
Randy, Mayor Rabazonia, you're up. Folks, Berks County Patriots totally support our local police, and we had a rally in June. And I just want to mention that briefly. You cannot believe the telephone calls that we got even before the rally. I personally got one from the police chief and said, Sam, we appreciate what you guys are going to do, everybody that was doing it. The morale was so bad, and this was giving them a shot in the arm. The Berks County Patriots did it, the GOP did it, the Oath Keepers did it, many other groups. Whenever, matter of fact, as recent as today, I see a police officer, I saw one in a patrol car today, wave to them. Okay? They need our support. Anyways, Randy's here to tell us about what they're going to be doing in Rabazonia this weekend. Randy? Thank you, Sam.
I grew up in the 50s and 60s. In 1969, I enlisted in the United States Navy, went on active duty in 1970. And the things that are going on today reminded me of what was happening 50 years ago. We had riots in our big cities. We had anti-war rallies going on college campuses. And it wasn't a good time to be in uniform, whether you were in the military or whether you were a police officer. They used to call the police officer pigs. Some of our soldiers were called baby killers. And, you know, when I came home from deployment, nobody ever said, welcome home, or thank you for your service. It just didn't happen back then. So when I got out in 1974, my mom asked me what I wanted her to do with my uniforms, and I told her to burn them. At a time when I should have been proud of my service, I just wanted to get out and get on with my life. Well, seeing what's going on in our big cities, like I said, which happened 50 years ago, it made me very angry. And I remember back then, they had something called the silent majority. So I put a feeler out on Facebook. I said, if I can organize a rally for our police, I said, how many of you would come? And the response was overwhelming. So with our police chief, Leon Grimm, who's also a Marine Corps veteran, we're putting together this rally, which is going to be this Sunday, August 23rd, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the ball field in Rabazonia, which is behind the Borough Hall. So we hope you can come out. We have several speakers. The sheriff is going to have his K-9 Corps there. There's going to be a state police flyover with the helicopters. And there's going to be things there for kids to do. We're going to have food. We're going to have drinks. But we're going to talk about things that you don't hear in the media. All you hear about is the bad police officers. And yes, there are some out there, but they're very few. Most police officers are good people, and they go out of their way to go out of their way to serve our country and our community. And I'm just going to tell you one of the stories, which I'm going to tell on Sunday. Back in 2008, I was on Rabazonia Borough Council, and we only had 2 full-time officers, our police chief, Wade Howman, and Officer Ed Wilson. And they were ready to change shifts. It was about 4 o'clock, and they got a call. A little girl was missing, just under 2 years old. So they immediately went to the house and started searching. After a couple minutes, Officer Heilman, Chief Heilman, found a little girl floating face down in a pond. He called 911 and he started giving her CPR. Thanks to Chief Heilman and Officer Wilson, that little girl's alive today. So we can be the silent majority no longer. We got to speak up for what's right with this country, and we got to call out what's wrong with this country. I'm going to do that this Sunday. I have some flyers here. I'll leave them on the table if anybody wants one. But before I go, I want to tell you a little joke. There was these 3 surgeons, and they were talking about surgeries they performed, and the first surgeon said, well, I had one, guy got his arm caught in a piece of farm machinery, that ripped it off up here at the shoulder, and I sewed it back on today. He's a pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the other 2 surgeons said, that's good. The second guy said, well, I had one guy got run over by a train. Both his legs were cut off above the knees, and I sewed him back on today. He's a running back for the Buffalo Bills. And the other two surgeons said, wow, that's really good. Well, the third guy said, I had one. I was involved in a terrible car accident. All I had to work with were his eyebrows and his anus. And today, he's Governor Wolf.
When you want to give up your mayor's job, bring up the media might work pretty well for you, Randy. Hey, folks, let's support them. I'm going to be there. Linda's going to be there. A lot of other patriots will be going there. Please, let's go out there next Sunday. Linda, I'm sorry, this Sunday coming. If you guys want to start passing. Also, if there's anybody that wants to or needs to change your voter registration or do something with voter registration, we have that information in the back. Just go in the back and we can help take care of you.
You did fine.
Okay. Up next is our first speaker, Dr. Donna. She's going to talk to you about 5G, and I had a Zoom presentation, or she gave a Zoom presentation a few months ago. Folks, there's not going to be able to go through all that tonight, but she's going to tell you for the most part, 5G protect your property, privacy, health. She'll provide an update on the placement of cell towers, antennas, and so forth. So look, let's all welcome Donna.
Ryan, oh great, thank you. Great. We just have to work through some AV problems here and we'll be able to get the slides up. I'm here for Pennsylvanians for Safe Technology. We provide education and advocacy throughout Pennsylvania about electromagnetic radiation, and often are advocating for people with health problems from it. Okay, the title of the talk, 5G, protect your privacy, property, and health. This is an update. And the previous lectures or talk is on our website, the two major presentations by Dr. Green and Penn State scientist Dr. Tanya Selecki. Okay, so we have a lot of gadgets today, and it's kind of exciting and wonderful, but at the same time, we really need to think, are we really truly informed? There's becoming more and more out there. And again, we need to know whether we're really informed about it. We have many choices. We have voluntary choices that we make, like our cell phones, our tablets, our laptops, wireless speakers, and then also involuntary ones. Big cell towers up on the upper right, smart meters on the bottom right, which many of you are very familiar with, and the new 5G antennas. That's what this is on the upper left there. We're seeing a lot of those in the larger cities like Philadelphia, but with the current pandemic, they're installing them, increasingly in the suburbs, and there are several in Berks County. We also have from the sky electromagnetic radiation through satellites. Okay, and we are not at all against technology. As you can see, I use a lot of it myself, but what we do advocate for is the safe use of it, and I'll go into that in greater detail. Here, just to give you an overview of what types of antennas there are. We don't really like to see these anywhere, but it's best to have them far away from people. When you have a wireless antenna, you want it to be up high and far away, because distance is your friend. Even with your cell phone, if you hold it out on speakerphone, that's less radiation than holding it to your head. Okay, another one. This is actually what inspired me to get involved. I'm a pediatric physical therapist, and I went to see a child at a playground, and this is what I found. And I knew that this was harmful for children with autism, but I had no idea the extent of the harm. Just a review of smart meters, the old-fashioned, which is what we really, really want, electromechanical analog meters have the little dials. Those are perfectly safe. The ones on the left here are the digital smart meters. Those are the ones that we're having problems with. And here is a 5G antenna, and you can see, rather than having this antenna up high and far away from people, it's right near someone's bedroom window. And that's a serious, serious problem. These are some other examples so that you can have an idea and begin to recognize, what these are. Most of these pictures are from Philadelphia. That's a 5G antenna, the top canister there. And another one, again, very, very close to windows where people reside or work. Another one at a playground. This used to be my favorite playground to go to, and I don't go there anymore. Also, there's not only one there. The last I saw, there was one across the street, and the new trend in Philadelphia is to have 2 antenna sets, so 2 co-located sets per pole. So now we're up to 4 of these installations per street corner. Yeah, it's not, we have multiple providers or telecom companies, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, they all want their own systems. And with 5G, what you need are many antennas close together because you get a wide array of wavelengths coming out of these. There are centimeter, decimeter, and millimeter waves. And the millimeter waves don't travel very far, so that's why they're saying they need to be close together. But you also have a very similar 4G antenna in there, which is very dangerous, especially close to people. They all are. Another example, very close to people, a roof deck of a restaurant serving healthy food. I know, it's really ironic. You're going to go get your farm-to-table meal by 2 antennas. Another one. And here you can kind of see the succession, that how, they're across the street, they're down the street, and how big some of them are. Like, that's really huge. That's the newest one that I've seen. And these all add to, they do not replace the existing cell towers. So we're just adding more and more electromagnetic radiation to our atmosphere. Okay, it does not have to be this way. This is a graph showing you the allowable exposure limits worldwide, and we, the United States, are on the right, and you can see we're among the highest. And another chart for different types of exposure limits, there are about 7. These are just 2. But outdoor pulse RF radiation limits, the US is at 1,000, and the other countries, you don't even see, you can barely see the bars. And the way you see this practically, I took a trip to Italy last summer. This was the typical cell tower in central Italy. Now you could make phone calls, you could text, you could even FaceTime. So I think a good question is, why do we need all of this? This was the more extreme version of what is in Italy. 2 of those. Nothing like these big towers with just racks and racks of antennas. They often will put them, if they're on a building, they're on a mast, raise them up. And how do we get here? One of the problems is that the FCC, which is supposed to be regulating industry, is really, they've got industry people within. And Norm Alster from Harvard University wrote this book, Captured Agency, which if you're interested, it's a good read on the subject. And this really needs to change. We have scientists speaking up, saying that this is very harmful. This is just one example. This is a group of scientists, over 250 of them from 42 different countries, were warning us 2 or 3 years ago not to do this. And rather than listening, we're installing more and more of this. There is a
ton of research on this, and it's often suppressed, which is a whole other problem. But if you look at our website is pasafetech.org, and there are brochures that were handed out. I see we may not have had enough, but you can all go to our website, pasafetech.org. There are cards. I should have definitely enough cards for everybody, and if there's extra, feel free to take them. But we have a whole page of research. We have a number of scientists, engineers, all kinds of consulting experts who work with us. They give talks with us. They help advocate if we have meetings with legislators. We often pull them in, physicians, all sorts of experts helping us. But when you look at the research, it's really astonishing. Even just through the Navy, there are over 3,700 studies just through the naval research. There's Army research, Air Force research. Ford Motor Company had a study in 1965 showing that electromagnetic radiation could wake up a sleeping animal. So it's not like the animal was worried about it. They were woken up from deep sleep in that research study. You can find expert testimony on our website as well. Really wonderful talks. Dr. Russ Whitty from the University of Arizona is an engineering and medical school professor. Dr. Tanya Selecki, who gave her talk back in May. Feel free to watch that there too. But on our website, there are a lot of links. And I think another good place to go to is Scientists for Wired Tech. We also collaborate with them. And they're very strong in action items. So that's a good place to look too. This I just want to call your attention to at the bottom of the research page. In 1997, public health scientists from Harvard and Boston University stood up to the first cell towers in Boston. And it's really striking. You can find that document. There are 4 pages. You only see 2 buttons there. It's on this page and also our resource files. But there they were. They signed their names, their institutions, and they opposed this. And it worked only for 2 years until cell towers were slowly rolled out in Boston. As far as symptoms, physical symptoms, early on, people might have trouble sleeping, headaches, dizziness, low sperm count. There's a lot of research on fertility, the harm, so don't put your cell phone in your pocket. Learning difficulties, heart palpitations, and nausea. And all of this progresses. People will have more problems with headaches, fatigue, tinnitus, which is ringing of the ears, difficulty concentrating, irritability, insomnia, heart, reproductive, and nervous system problems. There's a lot of research in that area, as well as cancer, and people can be injured into disability and become unable to tolerate things like their cell phones and their tablets. The good news is that you can use almost all of these devices using wired technology, and I'll go into that. And it's not hard. I mean, I didn't even know what an Ethernet cord was 2 or 3 years ago, and now my whole house is like that, and I can help other people wire their houses. I know it's amazing, like I would have never imagined that I could do that, but it wasn't that hard, really. So with 5G, we're going to have all those effects, all those health effects, plus they're telling us eye and skin problems. As far as environmental impacts, the bees, the birds, they're all going to be affected, especially with 5G, with those millimeter waves coming in. They're the size of a bee. And we need our pollinators for our food supply. And also, there's intense heat and pain at high levels. This has been used by the military in the active denial system. We have also military people working with us too. So it's a very serious thing that most people really don't know about. So the result is we've got this invisible harm. And the harm comes, in many forms. One is property values. Do you want this in front of your house? And what's it going to do to your property value? We know property values drop. There have been different figures on that, but that is a fact. And privacy. All the surveillance that you can get with this. It's something that we really need to think about. The human health cost is something that we work very hard on. This is a young mother in Philadelphia, and when I took this picture, she would walk her 2 babies under 10 antennas to get home, which was probably 15 blocks. Now, she could go 2 or 3 blocks and pass under that many antenna. It's getting worse, definitely. This is another child that I had, and this was a very high reading I thought 3 or 4 years ago, and now that little red box is a meter that measures electromagnetic radiation in the air, and it would be at the top in Philadelphia in a lot of areas. This is a woman who was injured by her neighbor's smart meter. This was a horrible case. She had to live in a tent. She had all kinds of medical documentation, and we could not get her any help. I tried everything. I mean, with my background in rehab, I tried all the usual advocacy things. I went to homeless agencies, to help people who are homeless. I went to disability rights, and we got no help for her. And 2 of her dogs had died. They were all vomiting in the house. Something was clearly wrong with that house that many people were so sick. And to this day, no help. This is her dog, and this is her dog when the dog actually looked better, because I saw the dog about a month ago, and right before the dog died, and just all that vomiting, just the poor dog. It affects people from all levels of society. This is a sailboat that a Mayo Clinic trained veterinarian, which is unusual. Most people are physicians who go to Mayo. But she had to sleep in her sailboat because her heart was so affected. And the only place that she could get relief was in her sailboat in the backyard in the winter. This is a boy whose parents, the mother is a nurse, and his family moved from their home in like southern Philadelphia area to the south, and he missed his friends. So he did what a lot of boys that age would do, and spend a lot of time on his Xbox. But he also had all these other wireless devices, and his dog would sit with him, and it was just so heartbreaking. This boy developed a brain tumor and died, and the dog also developed tumors. So the parents now work with us and are trying to advocate for safety. We've had other people who were not as fortunate to have, the financial resources. I had a young woman in her 30s, early 30s in Philadelphia, who became homeless because of a smart meter, and this is what she would sleep in. And she would say, I could get the best night's sleep if I just lay really still and the crinkling stops. I mean, we have to do better for people. And we have to have hope, because this is difficult, it's hard, it's a lot to handle. So we want to think about, how do we protect the most vulnerable? The most vulnerable are our children, pregnant women, people with chronic illness, and people who are older. You want to eat well, eat a lot of vegetables, do common sense things to, eat well, keep yourself healthy. Spend time outside, which is very restful, and you can get away from all of this radiation. Exercise. Exercise is always wonderful. And practical strategies for wellness with your wireless devices, if you could say that that's a thing. Distance is your friend. Keep your cell phone away from you. Don't put it in your pocket. Use it on speakerphone. Download your videos before watching, and then watch them on airplane mode. You can also use an Ethernet cable if you want to stream something. As far as phones go, a copper landline is really the best. It's really the gold standard. In California, people, when they had the fires, 60 people lived because they had a copper landline, because they got the reverse phone call, the reverse 911 call, and they got out. But the people with wireless, the calls failed. So there's really a place for copper landlines. The other thing you can try is a Wi-Fi router at night. To put it on a timer so it goes off. It's not hard to turn them off and on. And you want to teach your children too to use technology safer, in a safer way. Ideally, wire things. It really isn't that hard. Dr. Bray, one of the doctors who works on this, says this is not rocket science. It's called wiring. these are Ethernet cables. Fancy picture. On our website, there are different videos explaining how to do this, how to hardwire your devices, how to wire your home for Ethernet, and to ask for fiber to the premises. We actually have paid for fiber for 30 years in our phone bills. And that's something that now the courts have ruled that the states have the right to go back and get that money. So we really could have the very best, fastest service for a lot less money and without all these problems if we just go get that money back. So if anyone's interested in working on that, please let me know, because we need people to help. Use landline. This is a type of router or a switch that you can use. The type of system in my house, there's no wireless at all. We have all wired, we just plug things in. There's an example of a laptop. Another one, if you have a very thin laptop, you just need an adapter. And they're not hard to get, you can get them in many places. For the people who are more sensitive, you can get shielded sleeping bags and bed canopies. Here's the bed canopy. Shielded hoodies for people with heart conditions. This is a good idea. A lot of this is very expensive though, and I think it's really important to reduce and switch over to wired technology. Electromagnetic sensitivity is a diagnosis recognized by the U.S. Access Board. So it is a disability that the utilities should be recognizing, but we need some help getting that to happen. So what can we do? We need to act on 3 levels, local, state, and federal. The Maiden Creek Township passed a resolution, which was really wonderful, as well as a more protective ordinance, and many of us are working with our townships to do that. Olney Township is getting ready to pass theirs. Philadelphia, they've done some work on it. I think that was more ADA, but different suburban Philadelphia areas are working on it. So if you're interested, reach out to us and we can give you some guidance. The County of Hawaii recently passed one. There's many, this is just an example. The state level, we've got the irregulators ruling that I just talked about, trying to get that money back that we paid in our phone bills. And then leaning on the federal laws, like there's a Public Law 9602, which was to amend the Public Health Service Act to provide for protection of the public from electromagnetic radiation from devices. So we really need to find out, why aren't these laws, what can we do? And in Pennsylvania, we're trying to get some legal counsel. We're going to have to pull somebody in from out of state and raise money for that, especially in light of, there was a recent ruling in the Ninth Circuit where they upheld a lot of, the FCC has just had a lot of rulings in favor of industry, and we really need help with this. We can also write letters to President Trump. I think it's something that we need to do. He needs to know that people are suffering and that we need his help. Also, educating others. We want to work on, providing factual information with strong science, and that's what we really try to do with Pennsylvanians for Safe Technology. We try to pull in the best people that we can and the most solid science. To work on those federal laws to see what else we can do to leverage them. And again, Scientists for Wired Technology, they're really our go-to resource for action steps. This is a great book for anybody who wants to learn more. It's pretty easy to read, but it has a lot of science that you could dive in deeper. EMF by Dr. Joseph Mercola. On our website, and tonight, a lot of people were helping. We have several people from Pennsylvanians for Safe Technology helping to hand out brochures. This is an excellent one on cell towers in front of homes. It talks about 5G. So you can download that on our website off the resource page, make as many copies as you want, and feel free to educate people. We really need your help. And also, yes, we're done. Okay. Okay, I'm done actually. This is the last slide, so we're good. We go to back before all this happened, we were at the Capitol more. We haven't been there since, but we try to do our best and would certainly welcome your help. Hey, I can take questions if anybody has any. Uh-huh.
Our electric company told us we had to put the smart meter on. They were cutting our electric off. So we had no choice. We had to do it. They sent a guy out to put the meter on. I told him to get off my property. About 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the electric company. You either do this or you lose your electric service.
That's what they've been doing to a lot of people. We even had a veteran whose oncologist gave him a medical certificate saying that they shouldn't turn his power off, and they did. The utility company said it was not a medical matter. It wasn't a medical matter, it was a utility matter, a smart meter. The man now is seeking cancer care. His precancerous condition turned into a cancerous one. It's horrible. So, yes?
A person don't want this gadget on their property, and you just say no?
No, they can't. That's why we need to get ahead of it and try to change our local ordinances to make them more restrictive, and then work with our legislators to try to come up with other solutions. And we have fiber. We paid for fiber for 30 years in our phone bills. Everybody sitting here who pays a phone bill has been paying for something that we didn't get. Yes? Yes, they do.
Purchase covers for your smart meters, at least until something else is done. You can actually purchase a cover. My neighbor, she did the same thing. She is hypersensitive, and she bought the cover just fits right on it. It doesn't prohibit anything, but it doesn't allow me to emit into your house.
Yeah, and there are different levels of those too, that if you really need, a better one, contact us and we can put you in touch with the engineer who makes it. That was one of the things that I had to do. I actually had to put it on my neighbor's house that was radiating at ours. You can move the meter off your house, but these new smart meters use an RF mesh system, so they're all connecting. So even if you move your meter off the house, you still have radiation coming in from all the other meters. That's what I had at my house. So for me, I have a lot of medical problems on that list. So we had to do a lot just for me to stay in my house, or I would have been like the people who've had to move out of the state. We've had several people have to leave Pennsylvania very tearfully, but they had to go. It was their life, or they had to leave.
Time for one quick question, quick answer. Anybody?
Yes. You buy a little meter, and it only will test up to about 6 gigahertz. So now with 5G, you can't test, a 26 gigahertz antenna, but you can have an idea of what you're exposed to and then work to decrease it. There's no safe level, unfortunately. The best thing to do is just wire everything. It is not hard. I just emphasize one thing, it's not that hard to reduce your exposure. It just takes a little bit of learning, and you can do it. I think we might be out of time, but I could take questions later.
If you would, we are on schedule. Donna, you will be staying, okay? And you can take questions at the end?
Yes,
Okay, that's great. Folks, let's give a big welcome to Donna. Great presentation. Donna, can you accept a read that we put on our website? Okay,
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
that's great. We're going to do the raffle next, and just to let you know, Donna practiced what she preached. She had a choice of a wireless mic that I have. She took the wired mic. Good girl. Thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, Joe, Steve, let's do the raffle. Then Sally, you're going to be next.
Hello?
Thank you.
Hey, turn the lights on over there in the kitchen, please. Thank you. Who didn't buy a ticket? I can't have somebody draw the ticket that bought one. It's kind of a conflict. You didn't buy a ticket, sir? Would you mind coming over and drawing for me? Thank you. Give him a round of applause, folks. Come on. All right, this is for the Smith & Wesson Airweight 38 Special Plus E Revolver. Good chance that the winner's going to be here. We sold a bunch of these tonight. Christine Burrows. Are you here, Christine? Hey, congratulations. There you go. Great. So we'll see. Where's Christine? Thank right here.
Okay, great, congratulations.
We got our winner.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Steve and Joe. Okay, next is Sally, our feel-good moment, but she's going to be doing something else instead.
This is the great part, the part I enjoy. I'm here to introduce PA State Senator James Arnold. He represents the 29th district. He covers Northern and Western Burke and Rolston counties and 9 municipalities. He also serves as on committees in Harrisburg, including the Agricultural and Rural Affairs, Appropriations, Community, Economic and Recreational Development, Finance, and Urban Affairs and Housing. He is the vice chair. So please welcome David Arnold.
I have the easiest job tonight because I've been asked to introduce my friend Doug Mastriano, and from what I understand, you already all know. So let me tell you 2 quick stories about Doug that you probably don't know. And I know this has been an awful time these last couple of months. I mean, we've seen unemployment just go through the roof. Things that Grandpa talked to me about it, and Dad talked to me about it, and the Great Depression, and the coal mines closing up in Schuylkill County in the 40s and 50s. I never expected to live through it. But Doug invited me to come to one of the rallies in Harrisburg, and we talked about the fact that the governor has this beautiful painting outside his office. Not that he's seen it lately. Doug's been certainly educating you all on that point. But we figured it out. That it's a picture of Charles II of England being granted the charter for Pennsylvania from William Penn. The governor got the wrong idea from that painting. He thinks he's supposed to be taking after Charles II instead of William Penn. So Doug has been doing everything he can to re-educate the governor. And the first time he asked me to come down to one of those huge rallies in Harrisburg, and I know some of you have been there, we've had our moments of fun, even in the midst of this terrible depression. And the first time I'm there, I will never forget, this person stood up at the rally and said, according to all the experts, you should all be dead. And so it's good to see that we're all still kicking, all right? Secondly, I think there's 2 things that you may not know about Doug Mastriano. You know about his wartime service. You know about his service with education and his degrees and his service on the Cold War in Afghanistan and Iraq and the way that he's standing up to the governor. But what you may not know is you listen to him speak tonight. I got a little bit of trouble as a 21-year-old aide in Harrisburg many years ago, because the first thing I ever drafted for the Senate, the House Majority Leader, a guy by the name of Sam Hayes. Doug, you would have loved him, Captain Sam Hayes, Vietnam veteran, right? So I write this up, and I'm using everything I learned in college, and he throws it at me and says, "Get rid of all those weasel words." Damn, I got A's in English. I never heard of a weasel word. Is that a verb? Is that a noun? Is that an adjective? You're not going to hear Doug Mastriano using any weasel words, all right? He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. The second is this, and I don't want to get too far into this one. This is kind of inside baseball, and it's still kind of sensitive in the Senate. But I asked Doug a question a couple of months ago. And most people in government would have said, they would have used some weasel words. They would have said, "I'll give that due consideration." Or, "Well, let's go do a public opinion survey." Or God knows what, come back and see me in a month or 2 or 3. Doug Mastriano just said, "Yes, let's do it," okay? That's the kind of guy Doug Mastriano is. Come on up here, girl.
An American. Every day's a great time, but especially today. Look at all these pages around here. You're not alone. And you are blessed with Senator Arnold here. Thank you for hosting me here, your hospitality. He's a great man. And think every piece of legislation in my extensive time in the Senate, he's co-sponsored my 13 or 14 months in the Senate. So, and likewise, so he's on the right side of history here. We're standing arm in arm together with you in this fight against tyranny. Can you believe what's going on in Harrisburg? What a rodeo, huh? I'm like, we all took it seriously back in February and early part of March. We were called the spearmonger. We didn't know they said it's going to be very deadly and seriously Spanish flu levels. So, okay, we took the precautions. It was all about flattening the curve. How'd that go for us? And I watched Secretary Levine play the numbers. And after we had one of our reopen rallies, and all those open-minded, tolerant people there, we wish you all to die. Like, I thought you were so loving people, so full of hate and anger. And how do you like when you get in your face when you're walking around as free men and women? What's up with that? Is this Soviet Russia or is this America? Is this Pennsylvania? I mean, come on, give me a break. So, did anyone watch my 24th episode of Where is Wolf today? Dave, where is he, man? Help me.
He's a coward.
We have the jury's out. I hope he comes out in the newspaper saying, with the date on it, so we know he's okay. Okay, I'm glad you're okay, Tom. Governor Wolf. Never was a governor more appropriate named, right? Huh? You can't make this stuff up. I'm thinking about the lieutenant governor. Fetterman puts you in chains. I feel like I'm in chains. Bondage, I'm in fetters. But this is Pennsylvania, where the light of liberty was struck in 1776. 8 years of fighting the greatest power on the face of the earth. And our forefathers and foremothers, like Molly Pitcher, stood in the gap and gave us this beautiful country. But it was really not given. It was earned. And you think about some people, even in our lifetimes here, hitting the beaches at Iwo Jima, fighting in Guadalcanal, Normandy, you just go on, Battle of Bulge. I see an Army veteran brother here. Thank you for my service. Going to get your service there. Can I see veteran hands out there? Oh yeah, usually heroes, men and women, standing in the gap for the country. Yeah, thank you for your service, especially my Vietnam veteran brothers and sisters out there. You went out and fought a terrible war there, and you came back to a nation, I know not this area, but generally the nation. You landed in San Francisco, and how do you get welcomed? Baby killers. It's funny, the left will call us names of things that they were actually guilty of. Who's behind abortion and the murder of babies? Yeah. Yes. Come on now. Meanwhile, my brothers and sisters are slugging it out in the Mekong Delta and the mountains with the Manyanyars, the Hmong warriors, and running up and down Route 1, Da Nang, etc. And come home and the country turned their back on them. But we haven't turned our back on you guys. So welcome home. Thank you for your service. Thank you for sacrificing so much for our country. My heart is broken. My heart is really broken. And this is all sincere. I never had any aspirations to run for any office. Ever since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be in the Army. A couple of years, a couple of brothers joined the Marine Corps, and they kind of indoctrinated me about how good the Marine Corps was. But where's my Marine friends out there? Oh yeah, Semper Fi. I'll tell you what, in Afghanistan, I sure was happy to have Marines with me, you know what I'm saying? But I lived my dream defending the country, but as I was retiring, I really believed that my generation dropped the ball. Because when I got it from my dad, and he was a Navy man for 22 years, go Navy. Oh yeah. He handed over the country in pretty good shape, I think so. It's pretty darn good shape. But I'm handing off to my son and his generation worse off than how I got it from my dad. And I was really having a hard time at this. And when I was still in uniform, I was about a year out from retiring. And I was whining a lot. What was all the sacrifice for? All this combat time and 4 years away from the home, time I never get back. I'm feeling sorry for myself. And this young man looked over at me and said, "Well, Colonel, do something about it." And I'm like, oh my goodness, I've become a whiner. It's so easy to say, all those politicians are corrupt. Okay, if they are, then get off your seat and let's do something about it here, but they're not all corrupt. There's some good people up there like Senator Harville and there's many others. But we need help. We sure do need help. And you see the struggle here, what's going on with our president. I don't know how he rolls out of bed every day with the attacks he gets. I mean, I get this much here and I feel pretty bad for myself, And he gets the wrath and hate of the left from across the nation dumped on him. And the media also dump it on him. And he still fights for us every day. And we're blessed with Donald Trump. Senator article can tell you, and this is not no hyperbole, we're only one election away from losing it all. I mean, this is scary times. Can you imagine if Hillary won? Yeah, my brother up here, what's your name? Nick says we wouldn't have COVID, so yeah. I think you're on to something, bro. Do you think, Dave, do you think COVID has been politicized? I mean, you look at the numbers here. I mean, I get it. If you got it, it's a serious disease, like virus. I get it. We do take it seriously. We're not stupid. You have a 99.6% chance of recovering. So 0.4% of dying, I think we're okay. Notice the media was quiet during H1N1 because you had a different president now, you know? So that was like 3 times the amount of death that we have here, and I barely remember that back in 2009. It's like forgotten. So, are we being played? Okay, so we have the governor now, and he wants to play. He's, you know, I love when a Democrat's win. It's always, oh, it's about the children. Really? So what about sports? Well, Levine was a bit surprised yesterday when a reporter actually asked a half-hard question. Did you realize that no one under 19 in Pennsylvania has died from or with COVID? Oh, really? If that was you or me running this rodeo here, we had those numbers memorized, but you just kind of like, you've got to be kidding me. Actually, it's nobody under 25. I'm surprised Levine's not starting to add numbers in there because Mastriano's been talking about it for about a month now. But, so we're going to take, when in the course of human events have we taken a health lepers, you know, unclean, run away. You know, you go into the store without a mask and suddenly you're like, you have leprosy, you know, it's like the Old Testament. It's like, come on, really? I mean, you just can't make this stuff up here. But what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Oh my goodness. Walk is free. I heard lots of good answers there, and they're all valid. I heard one over here that won't repeat, but it takes us back to the Revolutionary War days. But walk is free people. You know, Ronald Reagan said in 1961, freedom is not passed on through the bloodstream. It's not inherited. It's not in our DNA. But we had every generation fights for that. We've seen generations upon generations of Americans rise up for such a time as this. And I believe we're being called. You know, I had all the excuses when you see the accomplishments here, but obviously my motto might be 1 Corinthians 1:27, saying that God uses the foolish to confound the wise and the weak to confound the strong. God will use anyone who's willing. And I look across history as somebody with a PhD in history. I don't know any time where God has rolled into history without using a man or woman. Whether it's Deborah in the Old Testament, or Queen Esther, or Gideon, who's hiding behind a wine press working on the wheat there, you know, and the angel of the Lord comes over and says, rise up, almighty man. He's like, what, me? You know, and I wonder if he's calling you, and you, and you. He's calling each of us for such a time as this. If we don't stand in the gap, who will? I hearken to 1934 Germany, where there was one man that could stop Adolf Hitler. His name was General von Schleicher, the German, and he was retired. He was running the Weimar Republic, and but the army loved him, and Hitler knew that. So being a typical socialist, the National Socialist Party is not a right-wing party, it's a left-wing party. Of course, the pinheads in our American university don't call it a right-wing party because it makes them uncomfortable. It's a socialist party. Hitler went in like a typical socialist, calling Schleicher names, accusing him of all kinds of, reprehensible moral behavior, and Schleicher froze up. He chickened out. As oftentimes we were bullied when they start shouting at us. You notice just a couple weeks ago, one of the representatives suddenly became a hater, bigot, phobic just because he was winning the argument against Levine and Wolf. And so the left of false name calling. I mean, this is like, kindergarten stuff. It's like, really? So we can't take them seriously. We've got to stop defending, Oh, I'm not. That's defensive. Oh, I have friends in that community. That's defensive. It's just like, that's a lie, and you're a liar. Shut up and move on. It's getting so old. You said an arm, you probably just kind of want to roll your eyes like, really, here we go again. Like, come on, get real. But here we go down this road here, and Levine and Wolf, 2 weeks ago said, oh, the schools can make up their own decision. I was like, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to tell you to believe that. And sure enough, he didn't disappoint, right? Or maybe he did disappoint, but all these restrictions and dithering, and it's like, come on, really? It's impossible right in your schools, now coming out with mask edicts, you know, it's like, okay, let's go with their ideas on masks. Then you only need it when you're within 6 feet of somebody. Let's do it properly. Notice, you know, the famed, beloved, much worshipped Fauci, you know, who threw that awful ball. What was he? But Fauci, when he didn't need the mask on, he's 60 feet away from the catcher. Of course, he had it on for the photo op. Then he's in the stands, squished in like a little pencil neck between two people, and the mask are all pulled down. Like, wait a second. So much for that idea. But why do I see, you know, the governor comes out and says, I demand that people 2 Mondays ago, if you're in a public space, you must wear a mask. The governor's saying that in a public space without a mask. Really? You can't make this stuff up. I'm like, is this a Saturday Night Live skit or something? It sure does feel like it. I'm like, come on, guys. But if you're not within 6 feet of somebody, why do you have that thing on? Right? I'm driving down 81, I'll see somebody with, they're like, oh no! I want to yell out the window, you don't need it, it's okay. It's just you in that car. Come on. It's okay. If you're over there, you got COVID, it's too late, sorry. I can't help you, that man's definitely going to help you.
Don't forget the driving with the gloves.
What was that?
Driving with the gloves and the mask.
Look, I get it, I'm a germaphobe too. I don't know if he's been a germaphobe, even though I was like, you know, a kid and all that, but come on, that's even cross the line for Doug Mastriano. It's like, really? Use a little common sense, let those brain cells work. So, you know, when the governor comes out, I don't know, Dave, I don't know why he does this. He gets his hard questions, there's occasional rare hard questions. Oh, I don't know, I'm not an attorney. Okay, then stop talking. You know, really? You do us all a favor here. Come on, you can't make this stuff up. So, you know, I'm driving to work, and Dave, I'm sure you've seen this on a nice trail on Susquehanna, and young people jogging alone with a mask on. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway,
I saw someone swimming with
it's a strange time in Pennsylvania. You know, when I was sworn in last year, and Senator Argyle, if you told me that, hey, Doug, next year you'll be fighting for essential freedoms in Pennsylvania, you're like, get out of here, you're joking. That's science fiction. I feel like we're in 1984 with Orwell. Or maybe on Animal Farm with the snitch line. What's up with this East German snitch line stuff? What's that? Oh my goodness. It's a strange time. And I was detained briefly when actually a long time ago. I actually had hair back then. I was a teenager in East Berlin. I dared to take a picture of Friedrichstrasse in the subway, U-Bahn. And the folks pulled aside, the people's police detained me, you know. And so I was like, man, this system is really nasty. I'm glad America ain't like that. How is it constitutional? How is it American that an anonymous person can call in or type it on a website making a complaint about? So I thought we could face our accusers. What happened to our country here? What happened to Pennsylvania? What's that?
Democrats have it.
All right, so yes.
All over rhinos.
Is it what? So I've been asked if we're going to get the snitch line released. Dave, I should want to release it. I think everyone's name who's ratting out their neighbors should be exposed. When the communist countries collapsed, all the communist countries except Latvia released the spies, the snitches, you know, to the public. Latvia has a large ethnic Russian population, so they're dealing with that right now. But all the others did. Need to lay the truth out there. And if I had anything to do with it, I'm sure Senator Argyle as well, we're going to get that thing released. Of course, yeah, we got to release it. And Dave, what's up with that secret deal with the car show in Carlisle? I mean, so picking winners and losers, are you okay with that? No! Essential, not essential?
No!
Life and death?
No!
I mean, the only positive, and this is not retrospective, I honestly did this when the governor came out with his proclamations, edicts, and takeover of Pennsylvania. When he came out and said, okay, I need all hands on deck. We can't expose our health practitioners to the virus. Where's my health practitioners out here? Can I see your hands? The healthcare industry. Thank you. Give it up for that. Thank you. And we got a lot of heroes in Pennsylvania who rose to the occasion. But, you know, the governor's going down the list, so all your elective surgeries, your cancer treatments, eye treatments. One lady in my district almost lost her eye because she couldn't get her monthly treatments. I mean, that needed a senator to make a phone call to a doctor. I mean, what the heck is going on? But then, of course, I'm like, good, at least abortions will stop. That'll be one thing. We'll have a lot of babies alive. I was more to see. Mr. Planned Parenthood, of course, with all that money coming out of his pockets from the execution of babies there, of course, that's the only exception he made. Can you believe that in Pennsylvania? This is a strange time we live in, and so we stand against this culture of death. It's a culture of death against the babies and the elderly. Because look what happened. Hey, Levine, issued a 19-March memo saying that long-term health care facilities need to take back COVID-positive patients because Levine was afraid we were going to run out of beds, which we never came close to in the state, hospital beds. And these homes are like, we don't have room, we can't quarantine, and they dropped them, especially the Southeast Veterans Clinic outside of Philly, where they had a catastrophic outbreak. And they put COVID positives with roommates, 2, 3, 4 other people in the same room, and it led to the plague. Now, over 5,000 to 7,000 deaths in Pennsylvania were on the hands and due to the policy of our health secretary. Who needs to go? Levine needs to go. Amen. And so when I was on the steps of the Capitol last April there demanding Levine's resignation, I didn't know how bad it was. The next day we had that private investigator who found out Levine knew the danger. Levine doesn't give anything about your loved ones, but Levine knew, and like a snake in the grass, got mommy out and put mommy into a sweet Hershey. What's going on with that? I mean, I get it. Look, I was leading various levels through the Army and retiring as a colonel, and I get it. Sometimes people make bad decisions. I get it. But it'd be one thing, and that's a bad decision, but then coming out and owning it and say, hey, we got a problem here. If you can take your loved ones out, please do. I know it's going to be hard, sacrificial, but please try to save their lives. But instead of being an honest, upstanding human being, did this behind our back, betrayed the trust of the people of Pennsylvania, and so many died needlessly as a result of this incompetent person. This is the most bizarre version of insider trading I've ever seen in my life. It's far worse. Far worse than anything I've seen. It's one thing when you have politicians knowing the economy is going to collapse and taking money out of the stock market. This is totally different. People's lives are on the line. Many of them were heroes. One of the guys who died in the Southeast Clinic, an Army veteran, he stormed the beaches at Normandy, Omaha Beach, survived Battle of Bulge, fighting Hitler's SS Panzer divisions, and then only to die as a result of Levine's failed policies. Can you believe this? Shame on Levine. And that's just one of over 5,000 loved ones. Everyone who was loved, everyone who was a mom or a dad or a brother, sister, grandparent, and it meant nothing to these elitists here. What's gone wrong in our state? We got to take it back. Yes. And here's the problem is that we sat out too long. We stood aside during elections. And as I often talk about 1787 with Benjamin Franklin coming out of Philly, and during the Constitutional Convention, he was asked, so Mr. Franklin, will you have a monarchy or a republic? He says, a republic if? Can you keep it? Yes. Keep it. We have to keep it. So everything is on the line here. Once the light of liberty is struck, once darkness comes across Pennsylvania, we've lost our nation here. So I'm looking around our room here, and I see lots and lots of patriots standing in a gap for our nation. We're no longer standing aside. We're going to stand in a gap for our country and take it out of the hands of men and women who don't deserve it. And we're going to do it in a constitutional public way. Now, it took time to lose our state. It's going to take time to take it back. So stand with people you believe in. And if you can't find a man or woman you agree with politically, then maybe you should think about saddling up, as I reluctantly did a couple of years ago, and run for office and come what may. But if you're not happy with your seat, help us out. Stand with somebody that you believe with, or run for office yourself. Like I went down the litany here, Gideon didn't want to do that. We know Jonah didn't. Jonah went the opposite way. Oh, you want me to go to Nineveh? I'm going to Tarshish. Bye-bye. I actually had a couple Jonah moments there when I was going to run for office there. But I was thinking about Jonah's end, and I'm like, no, I'll just go to Nineveh the direct route and see what happens. Yeah. Big fish. That's right. Thank you. Well, I love you guys. Let me wrap it up here. Thank you for taking the time to come out here. This is how we take our country and our state back, standing together, doing it the constitutional way, standing together, no longer standing aside. Each of you are important. I know no matter how old or young you are, you can change the course of history. I know that. We've seen that throughout history. I look across the millennia, and we see like Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, the hero of Little Round Top at Gettysburg, but did you know before he was all that, he was somebody who was called a stuttering fool from nowhere, Maine. He had a stuttering problem, stammering they called it back then. He couldn't put two sentences together without stuttering. And think about this, he goes on, God changes his weakness into his greatest strength. He goes on to be one of the greatest orators in American history. So, I think looking at the before, not this guy who's promoted to general medal honor recipient and the former chairman, but the stuttering fool who was laughed at, called the stuttering fool. Look what God did with his life. I wonder what God can do with you. I know he can do great things through and with you, if you're willing to take that risk and step out. And it won't be paved with glory and roses. You won't have the media and press won't be falling over you. They're generally on the wrong side of all this here. I mean, we do have some strong voices there, but don't expect accolades. Look how they treat the real heroes, the athletes who dare to stand when other people are disrespecting our flag. A handful of people, how they're viciously attacked. That's the heroes. The ones that are in the arena fighting and standing for righteousness and all that is good. We have a great country here, don't we? And we've had dark times before. And thank God we don't have, 70,000 Johnny Rebs running around my part of Pennsylvania, right? So it's a different time. But our struggles are different. They are real. And we're not facing German machine guns in Normandy or Japanese snipers on Kunichi Ridge in Okinawa. But we're fighting our own struggles here where our basic freedoms are for the first time in Pennsylvania history under assault and attack. By a governor acting, as he said himself, as an autocrat. I can't believe he called himself that on June 7th during a press conference. It's kind of scary, and as Senator Argyle rightly said, we got rid of the king in 1776. So I think Governor Wolf must have slept through that part or skipped that class.
People are buying into
Governor Mastriano!
I love you, brother. We'll see.
No, do it.
Thanks, Brad.
God has plans for you.
Thank you. Well, I do have a re-election to win for Senate, so one thing at a time. But if God was to call, an average man or woman like us, it's going to have to take a lot of teamwork because we don't have the money. There is a swamp that doesn't want somebody like us to represent us and fight for us there. We have to work for it, and we'll see when that time comes.
We're going to drain the swamp.
Oh yeah, we got to drain that swamp. And I'm with you guys as well. I think about Pennsylvania, 1776, a light of liberty down the street in Philadelphia, 1863, a new birth of freedom in Gettysburg, at the bloodiest battle in all of North America. And then, of course, let's not forget 2001 in Shanksville and Somerset County. Let's roll. Todd Beamer, let's roll. I think it's our time to roll. It's our time. Okay, so I'll wrap it up with a question here. And the question is, Daryl Metcalf is nominated. I might be looking over at Senator Argyle for any updates and see his leadership in the Senate. So, of course, impeachment goes through the House first, and Daryl Metcalf introduced, I think, 5 articles of impeachment. And right at this point, when I just spoke to him about 3 hours ago, there's only 30 Republicans in the House that co-sponsor that. They're looking for at least half of the membership on the Republican side to co-sponsor the House. So if your reps haven't signed up to co-sponsor that, please encourage them to do that. And then once they achieve that, it looks like it'll get on the calendar probably in September. I'm assuming it's up to the House to decide. And if it passes with a simple majority in the House, then it comes to the Senate. And that's where the fight's going to really happen because we need 2/3. Anything to add on that, Dave? Okay. For the article of impeachment? I don't think it has a House bill number. No, it's just an article of impeachment that I introduced. So let me wrap this up here. I've kept you long enough. Thank you for coming together here. Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys.
Okay? Anybody here? Sir.
My wife's father has the reality is, he had a do not resuscitate, do not hospitalize order in place. How many people in Old Folks have a do not hospitalize, do not resuscitate order?
Sam, can you put a mic on him? We can't hear what he's asking.
The senator can hear. He'll repeat it.
Okay.
I think, let me restate the question. Are they faking the data? What do you think?
Okay, one more question, folks. Where? Okay. Loud.
This is a little bit of a thought. There's a county executive who was coming out of Black Lives Matter folks and the other guys. Now, they want to remove them from office. Are the Republicans,
Question, sir.
are they going to stand up against this kind of behavior just because someone has a
A county commissioner can't be impeached for saying what he or she believes. There's no offense of the law there. There's no, no. And I mean, you've seen it in Philadelphia. Doug and I, they can have all the protest marches they want. We talked about it in the beginning, Sam. But they can't do the mummers parade? I mean, that's how crazy this has gotten. And Sam, you nailed it right at the beginning.
Okay, folks.
Because the governor thinks he knows what the conditions are going to be in January.
Folks, now, Senator's going to hang around for a few minutes, I believe. They've already as well, so we'll get a couple other questions. Let's give a big, big hand for those senators. Big hand. Big hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, folks, we're going to do a 50-50 draw. Hang tight. Red